It wasn't the first time we'd let someone into our marriage. And it probably won't be the last. But this one stuck with me. The way she lay there breathless, eyes hazy, lost in the moment. As I leaned back, heart still racing, and my husband stepped in without missing a beat. We didn't have to say a word. She already knew she belonged in this moment with us. Before we begin, if you've been enjoying these stories, please hit like and subscribe. It helps more than you know, and if this is your first time here, I'm really glad you found this. I hope you enjoy it and come back for more. Let's begin. He was already moving with me when I opened my eyes. The morning sun crept through the curtains, casting a soft glow over the room as his body moved in sync with mine. Steady and sure, one hand held my waist. The other traced up my spine, grounding me with every shift and press. It felt good, his warmth. His rhythm, the familiar way we fit together without needing to speak. My breath caught with each push of his body against mine. And I let the sounds escape. Soft and unfiltered, he exhaled behind me. His movements growing more deliberate, adjusting with the kind of practice, focus that always made me melt just a little more. We knew exactly what to do, and yet something was missing. Even as I tensed beneath him, even when he pulled me closer with a breathless sound, even as we both reached that final rush. I felt it, we weren't meeting each other in it. We were reaching for what it used to be. He collapsed beside me, skin damp. Breath uneven, I rolled onto my back. Still warm, still tingling, but already fading. You felt that too, didn't you? I asked. He looked over with a crooked smile. It was good, I nodded once. Exactly, he chuckled. Brushing a bit of hair from my forehead. We've been spoiled, I didn't answer. I reached for my phone on the nightstand and opened the booking calendar. Without thinking habit. Just scanning, but then I saw her. Guess who checked in late last night? I said, turning the screen toward him. He squinted. Room 3. Last minute. Traveling solo, married. Check the emergency contact, says she's in her late 30s. He sat up slightly, alone and married. That's interesting. She didn't say much when she arrived, I said, locking the screen and setting the phone aside. But the way she looked around, like someone who wanted to disappear for a bit. He was smiling now. You think she's open? I smirked, rolling toward him. I think she's looking for something, and we might be it. His hand slid back onto my hip. Firmer this time. What are you thinking? I kissed his shoulder, slow and deliberate. We bring a bottle, we knock, and we see how far she's willing to go. He grinned, already picturing it. You're dangerous. I raised an eyebrow. You're welcome. By evening, we were standing in her doorway with a bottle of wine. She opened the door in a loose tee and soft pants, barefoot. Surprised but polite, just enough makeup to look like she hadn't been waiting for something to happen. But I could tell she had. I said, smiling. We thought we'd welcome you properly. She looked at the bottle, then at both of us. Oh, you didn't have to. We wanted to, I said. Already stepping in, she hesitated for half a second, then opened the door wider and let us inside. The lights were low and warm. She'd made a small snack plate. Cheese crackers, a little fruit. I wondered how long she'd been setting it up, just in case someone came by. We sat around the small table, poured glasses, and started with the usual questions. Where she was from, how long she was staying. What brought her here? She answered easily enough. Calm voice, polite smile. But there was something heavy beneath her tone. Something waiting to be unraveled. Traveling alone, I asked, casually refilling her glass. She nodded, eyes flicking toward my husband. Then back to me, just needed a change of scenery. Your husband didn't mind, she laughed softly, then shook her head. He didn't really notice. That told me everything. Well, I said, raising my glass. His loss, my husband smirked, watching her closely. "Have you done this before?" She blinked. "What, traveling alone?" He didn't answer, just held her gaze and took a slow sip. We kept talking, the wine helped. Her posture loosened, her smile came easier. She leaned on the table a little more and started asking us questions back. I could feel it happening. Not all at once, but steadily, like heat rising through glass. At one point, I caught her looking at my lips while I was talking. Just a flicker, but it was there. A little later, she reached for her glass at the same time I did. Our fingers brushed. She didn't pull away. "You don't seem like someone who stays quiet for long," I said, softer now. Her breath hitched barely. "But I noticed I don't," she said quietly, "not usually." We looked at each other for a second. Too long, no one moved. No one spoke. I leaned in and kissed her, gentle, unhurried, deliberate. And she didn't pull away. We kissed longer than I expected. Slow at first, then deeper. More certain, her lips parted, and I felt the surprise in her breath. A sharp intake before she melted into me. Her hand found my arm, fingers curling gently, as if she was still deciding whether to stop this. She didn't. We stood slowly, still kissing, and without a word, I guided her toward the couch. I kissed her again, slower this time, letting her feel how much I wanted her. Her body leaned into mine, soft and cautious. But growing bolder by the second, I slipped my hands beneath her shirt, lifting it gradually until she raised her arms and let me take it off. The rest came off just as easily, and I let it fall aside with mine. Skin to skin, I kissed her again. Then guided her back onto the couch, with a slow, steady touch. I leaned down and pressed my lips to her collarbone, then lower, tracing the curve of her chest, letting my lips wander in slow circles, then lingering with open kisses until she arched toward me. Her breath trembled. Her hands tangled in my hair as I moved from one side to the other, savoring every inch when I pulled back. Her eyes were heavy, unfocused. I stood just long enough to slip off the rest of my clothes, and when I returned to her, I helped her out of hers pants first, then the final piece keeping us apart. She let me take my time. I kissed along her stomach, her hips the crease where her thigh began. She was already shifting beneath me, her thighs relaxing, opening gradually, inviting me closer as I slid lower. I started with soft kisses, warm, open-mouthed, patient, letting her feel each one. My hands caressed her legs, brushing lightly along the inside as I moved closer, never rushing. Then my hands moved lower, exploring in careful rhythm, drawing her body into mine with each soft motion. And then I traced lower with my lips, following the rhythm her body invited. Mouth and hands worked in tandem, following every shift in breath she gave me. Her hands gripped the cushion, then my shoulders, then her own thighs. She didn't speak, didn't need to. We stayed like that for a while, her body shifting beneath mine, every movement a signal, every sound a reward. I stayed with her, responding to every cue like I already knew what she needed. And I was right there with her. Eventually I slowed, kissed her thighs again, sat up. She looked dazed, beautiful, breathless. I turned toward my husband. He was still watching, elbows resting on his knees. Completely still, I didn't say a word, just met his eyes and nodded. He stood slowly, eyes still locked on mine, and began to undress without a word. The tension in the room shifted, sharper, now more electric as he stepped out of his clothes and moved toward us. He didn't touch me, not yet. He positioned himself closer, guided by silent intent, her breath caught as he leaned in. His mouth met her gently at first, following the warmth I'd left behind with slow, knowing attention. She gasped, one hand flying to her mouth, the other reaching blindly for me. I took it, I kissed her palm, then leaned in and brushed my lips along her stomach. Her skin twitched under each kiss. I moved higher over the soft curve of her chest, the line of her collarbone until I reached her lips again. She was already panting into the kiss. Her body shifted beneath us, restless, overwhelmed, hungry for more. My husband didn't rush. He adjusted deliberately, always changing pace just as she started to catch it, teasing her, stretching her anticipation to the edge. I kissed her again, this time deeper. Her hands gripped me tighter. I could feel the tremor building in her as he continued. Slower, then suddenly firmer, then soft again. Never letting her settle, then he rose. He leaned over her, slow and quiet, and I watched her legs shift, instinctively welcoming him without hesitation. The weight of his body pressed against hers, steady. Deliberate, and for a moment. She just breathed through it, eyes closed, lips parted, like she was bracing for the first drop of something she'd been waiting too long to feel. His hips moved once along, grounded motion that pulled a shiver straight through her. She gasped into my mouth, then he did it again. Slower this time, then faster. Her hands clutched at my arms, her thighs flexing around his. She arched as the tension built, her body drawn to each shift, then startled as it changed again. He never gave her the same pace. Twice he held back just long enough to make her chase it, then challenged her rhythm, switching between sudden urgency and aching restraint. Her whole body moved with him, every muscle drawn tight, every breath shortened by surprise. I stayed close, kissing along her throat, her chest, her lips, whispering to her without words. She was caught in both of us, stretched between motion and stillness, between being held and being undone. Her legs wrapped tighter around him. Her nails dug lightly into my skin, and still he didn't stop. He leaned into her rhythm with purpose, then withdrew just enough to unsteady her again. Unpredictable. Relentless, she writhed beneath us. Pulled tight in every direction, never sure where the next wave would come from. Only that it would then, I felt it. Her breath caught her fingers, froze. Her whole body held still, then unraveled beneath us. With one final rush, she collapsed, trembling, breathless, undone. We both stayed close, watching her, holding her, and smiling. We helped her up gently, but we weren't gentle for long. I settled back on the couch, open and ready. My husband guided her forward with one hand on her back. The other in her hair, she sank to her knees without hesitation. He kept a hand at her neck, guiding her forward right between us. The first contact was soft, curious, but he was behind her. And I could feel her flinch as he adjusted her hips, realigned her focus. She wasn't leading this moment. We were, and she was beginning to realize it. She moved gently still, learning how to follow my lead. I kept my hand tangled in her hair, steadying her, controlling her pace. She tried to pull back once, just to pause, and I guided her to stay with me a moment longer. Not unkindly, just enough to help her surrender to it. He stepped in close behind her, hands finding her waist. One grounded motion pulled a soft jolt through her. She didn't pull away, she kept going, even as his rhythm began to build. Every time he moved, her body followed. Not by command, but by design. I felt it through her, every motion, every adjustment, every uneven breath. Warm and close. I tilted her head slightly and watched her face. Her eyes were wide now, not scared. Just overwhelmed. He was getting rougher. She didn't stop. I looked up. He was watching me again, and what I saw in his eyes made my stomach tighten. This wasn't soft anymore. It wasn't about seduction or patience. It was about taking what we wanted and watching each other enjoy it. She let out a soft, uneven breath. I shushed her gently and stroked the back of her neck. "Good," I whispered. "Keep going." His pace shifted. Slower, then deeper, then suddenly still. I felt the pause, the anticipation. Then a sudden intake of breath. His posture shifted, and so did hers. He started again, rougher now. More deliberate, her shoulders shook with each movement. Her breath stuttering, I kept her steady, letting her feel everything we were giving her. She was falling apart, and we were holding her there. I watched his face as he took control, flushed, focused, fully undone. That was what broke me, seeing him like that. In command, lost in it. Watching me as he worked her deeper into the moment made something unravel inside me. She was trembling now, hands clinging to me. She kept moving, eager to keep going, even as she unraveled beneath us. And then I let go, not slowly. Not subtly, my whole body tensed and arched forward. And I held her in place as wave after wave took me. He watched it happen, eyes locked on mine. And I could see how close he was. But he didn't stop. She broke next. I felt it in the way she collapsed forward, completely spent, undone by everything we gave her. And that was what finally did it for him. He stilled, breath caught, eyes locked on mine, and gave in to the rush. She dropped forward, shaking. He stepped back, breath ragged. Hands still on her, we locked, eyes wild, spent, burning. She was done, we weren't. Before you leave, answer this. Have you ever wished for a partner who'd experience everything with you? No jealousy, no hesitation. Just the two of you, completely in sync. If you had that kind of bond, what would you explore together? Tell me in the comments, I'll be reading. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's next. Thanks for being here.